God, it's so great to see you. How you doing?
Damn! These videos are satiric reviews. You don't have to agree, but don't bitch about it.
Hey there, I'm social injustice warrior V Infuso. And remember way back when I made that video on Too Cool? I mentioned that during the Attitude Era, they managed to get over big with audiences. And not for their wrestling skills, but for their personas and their character. And you know what? They're not the only ones. Far from it. It was actually a very character-based era. During the Attitude Era, there was a plethora of memorable acts. And not all of them had an incredible work rate. You know, for some of them, that just wasn't their draw. Ask any Attitude Era fan about the APA, and they'll be sure to remember their backstage segments that showcase them playing poker, drinking beer, and telling people to use the door in their office.
I guess you're new here, so I'm gonna do you a favor. Joe, door. Door, Joe! What? Knock! Yeah. Joe, now that you're here, you can leave.
But if you take that same fan and you ask them to list their favorite APA matches, they might come up next to blank. But you know what, I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself here. So let me take this back. Back in the late 90s, Farouk and Bracio's careers were dwindling down. And in an effort to resuscitate them, the company paired them together with their brand new manager, the Jackal. Jackal would refer to the team as his Acolytes. The pairing with him, however, wouldn't last all that long because Jackal would take his leave from the company, leaving the Acolytes briefly unattended. You know, that is until they were swept up by the Ministry of Darkness, a group so successful that they'd be ripped off for years to come by backyard wrestlers everywhere. I mean, look at these guys. Look at this. Look at this shit. Who booked that?
This person.
Together, they basically worked as Undertaker's main henchmen. They were regulated to the roles of goons, but they did rather successful in that endeavor.
No! It's time. He's ready for you.
No, come on!
And had a fair amount of chemistry in the ring with one another. The two were ass kickers through and through, and everything they did in the ring looked like it hurt, because honestly, it probably did. They'd win their first tag team championships off the team of Kane and X-Pac. And when the Ministry of Darkness, or the Corporate Ministry as they were later known as, Farouk and Bradshaw remained a team, losing their satanic symbols in the process. The team would often be seen backstage, drinking beers, playing cards, and hustling their coworkers out of money. When eventually the Mean Street Posse, remember those guys? I don't wanna. Would ask the Acolytes to protect them, which they decline, either because A, they wear sweater vests, you don't want to be caught dead with anybody with one of those, it's just not a good look for anybody. Mere association can bring one's reputation far down. Or B, and the more likely of the two, is because the beer was still cold. However, when the posse offered them money, they were in business. And after protecting them, they decided to continue with the service, calling themselves the APA. The Acolyte Protection Agency.
I got an idea for a business. Listen to this. We're gonna make money protecting people. No, listen. I can see it all up in lines. I'm serious. I can see it all up. Yeah, no. The Acolyte Protection Agency. Look at it.
Man, I think
Big P to the legs.
They were essentially bodyguards and ass kickers for hire. If you had the cash, they'd whip some ass. And hey, that should have been their tagline. I mean, it's not great, but it's better than always pounding ass. Who on creative pushed for that? Let me know. Who did it? Who's the genius? They'd get a number of gigs looking after a number of different wrestlers, either for protection or just blatantly taking a hit out on somebody else.
Rumor around the locker room has it that you boys are now in the protection business. We ain't got no money on us, but we'll write you a check.
if that check bounces, so do you.
I paid you! You do what I told you to!
One situation even saw the APA watching over 24/7 hardcore champion Crash Holly, as he slept to make sure no one could win his title off him. They'd feud with the likes of Edge and Christian, the Right to Censor, and the Dudley Boys, amongst some other teams. Though outside of those feuds, most of their interactions weren't at all personal. It was just business. Similar to how Too Cool will be remembered most for dancing before and after their matches, rather than the matches themselves, the APA will mostly be remembered for their backstage segments and drinking beer.
You know who I am?
Not today, man.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah, I know who you are.
Who am I?
You're about to get your kicked.
So I know what I'm doing. I'm betting the whole mother load.
Why don't you hurry up, because I got to go see your mama.
Hey, you need to lay off my mama.
I'm going to lay on your mama.
Boys,
What's up?
6 aces.
Six aces.
Cheers, my friends. That's called jackpot, baby.
Oh! He might be known as the dead man's hand. Farouk all over Devon Dudley and Bradshaw Bubba Ray.
I'm going to make that speech tonight, and I don't want to be interrupted. And I need a little protection.
Hey, listen, honey, we don't use protection around here.
We're not little. You know, we don't have to take cash.
No,
do we?
Guys,
Sorry, we're closed.
shouldn't you be warming up about right now? You got a match with Perry and Dean next.
We are warming up.
Can't you see how hard we're working?
You need a spot.
Could you? And I know we're a little short there.
Extremely hot in here.
So go to Alaska, leave our beer.
Don't sit there, man. Get the woman a polar beer.
Hey, some ice.
Came up real quick. I'm not quicker than anybody we play with.
Yeah, you've almost won a couple
Gonna be all right.
Did you ID him?
Yes, I did. Hey, say, by the way, when you work together, right? You're a leader.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I want to know that hooterata thing she does. When she flips.
Hooterata?
Yeah. It's just the one move. When she flips back and catch her right here, right there. I bet I could do that over and over again. I mean, catch her right here.
Man, that's just hey, man, let's play cards, man.
Hey, say, I just one other question.
Yeah, man.
Where'd you get those thongs?
Thongs? You can't ask the man about the lady's thongs. After Booker T.
How does he get that thong?
Man, would you leave that man alone? He's highly distressed right now. He's distraught.
Say, by the way, hey, brother, she's a natural redhead.
Man, would you quit? That is highly inappropriate. Besides, if you want to know if she's a natural redhead, just ask his brother Jeff.
What made him so mad?
Maybe she's not a natural redhead.
Hey, man, where you been?
Hey, the door's locked.
Well, use the key.
Jesus.
Hey, where you been, man?
I got an
What's that?
invitation for us, the Friendly Tap. We beat up the whole bar and tore up the whole place.
And they want us back.
They've forgiven us. They've completely forgiven us. Bygones be bygones. Wipe the slate clean. They want us to come back and drink beer with them. Beer, booze, everything is free. Hey, kiss ass, how's that millionaire's butt? You know, Will, it is your fault we got to see Vince pull his pants and his drawers down each week on TV, all because you puckered up and kissed his billionaire butt. What do you think he'd have kissed to become vice president?
Oh, man, that's nuts.
I'm gonna kick, not kiss, your ass right here in our office.
What you did to Stone Cold tonight, that took a lot of balls.
It sure does, Kurt. And APA wants to start with you.
I never have one of these.
It's all right. We drink all the time. Look how we turned out. Come on, drink up, drink up, drink up, drink up, drink up.
This stuff's pretty tasty. When they start making this?
Damn.
Now the big difference here is while I may mostly not remember Too Cool's in-ring work, I actually do remember the APAs. I mean, I don't remember their opponents in particular, but I do remember the beatings their opponents were handed. They wrestled with an intensity that not many others had, and had a knack for making everything they did look all too real. Because once again, it probably was. I do seem to recall them and the Dudleys on one specific occasion battering the crap out of each other. They were one of the most over teams on the roster, and that's when the roster was filled with a lot of memorable tag teams. Typically, they didn't really have too many stories of their own. They weren't really seen in a lot of feuds, but they were used as pieces to tell other people's stories. I think we all remember the night that Chris Jericho won the world title, but then he didn't. Even though he did, but he didn't. Strike it from the record book. When they weren't protecting somebody or taking someone out, more often than not they were feuding for the tag team titles, of which they won the belts on 3 separate occasions. Eventually the team was split up when Bradshaw was drafted to Raw, with Farouk staying on SmackDown.
And all this time we've been together, golly. We drank together, we rode together, we fought together.
You had my back, I had yours, huh?
Like always.
You know?
Never had a better friend. Now you go to SmackDown and I go to Raw. We came in drinking beer.
Ain't no other way to go out.
Hell no.
Having no other way.
Last call. Beer. Much beer for everybody. Everybody. APA, last party.
Oh, no, hold
She
on.
needs to say she's going to stay here and play naked. I'm play cards. Okay.
Hey, man, it's been real, man.
It has been real. We've had a good time. You think that's a real cigar?
Look at that old hero back there, man. Look at you, 5 times.
5 times.
Hey, look at that pretty lady right there, man.
Hey, remember when Godfather and Mel B just jumped into that nude bar?
That's too much, huh?
Speaking of jumping, remember that time we jumped you guys and hit you with poop?
Man, what you got?
Hey, Red Coat, how you doing?
Come on, man. Head up here.
The APA is now officially out of business.
Oh, he got to go there, dog.
And it looks like we're out of beer. I guess the party has
Wind down.
just about ended. Be a last call party for the APA without a bar fight. Wow.
Hard to believe.
King, the end of one era, but yet the beginning of another one.
And a year later, that team was put back together. In OVW, WWE's farm territory of all places. And it's there they won the OVW tag team titles. They'd return to the company to aid their former mentor, The Undertaker, in taking on the full-blooded Italians. Afterward, they'd find themselves attempting to recapture the WWE tag team titles, in a failed effort. On the plus side, though, they would innovate the Barroom Brawl match, and I think we all have fond memories of that match, am I right? Am I right? I mean, come on. No? Okay, alright, as long as it's not just me. The Acolytes managed to get on the bad side of SmackDown general manager Paul Heyman, leading to him putting their careers on the line in a match against the team of Too Cool. Oh no, I'm sorry, Scotty 2 Hotty and Rikishi. You know, not Too Cool. I mean, they both were in the team. Whatever, they're not too cool. After the team lost the match, Heyman only fired Ron Simmons and told Bradshaw to focus on his own career, which he did. Big time. Simmons, disgusted with Bradshaw's decision to stay, took his leave, retiring from wrestling altogether. And wow, that's cold. I mean, I guess it's like a wise man once said.
Who the hell you think you are? You're gonna fire us? I want to hear it out of your mouth right now. Say that we're fired. Say it.
Say it, punk.
I didn't say I was firing the APA. I said I was firing you, Farouk.
What? Okay, man. We don't need this. Let's get out of here, bro. Well, I'll be damned.
Come on, Ron. Listen, you gotta understand. I can't just walk away. Man, I got way too much going on. I can't just walk away from this because you said something stupid. Come on, Ron. Can't we still be friends at least?
Oh yeah, and at some point they were aligned with Jacqueline. That happened. And while she did fit in with the crew quite well, I have to say, nothing really ever came of it. It just happened. Bradshaw would of course go on to become JBL, a WWE champion and one of the most genuinely hated heels in all of wrestling history. Ron Farouk Simmons would return years later, mostly in backstage segments where he'd use his new catchphrase,
Damn!
though on occasion he'd return for one-off matches. In 2007, the APA would return in the form of a cameo on Raw, as they were paid off by Hornswoggle to protect him from Carlito and Jonathan Coachman. Wow, 2007 was a very different time. They'd return again in 2012 on the celebratory Raw 1000, where they'd protect a returning Lita from Heath Slater. Though in hindsight, I think that was just a waste of her money. I mean, did you really need them? I mean, it's good to see them again, and oh look, they got the shirts, but were they really necessary? You couldn't moonsault Heath Slater without Bradshaw and Farouk in their 50s. In 2015, they'd make yet another cameo, this time going after the Ascension, despite the fact that both the NWO and the New Age Outlaws were present. I mean, they clearly could have done something. Maybe not Scott. And maybe not Nash. But I mean, the Outlaws just won the title. They're right there. But okay, sure. Good to see you again, I guess. In 2018, for the 25-year anniversary of Raw, the APA took up the vast majority of backstage segments, in which they were seen playing poker with a few members of the roster and a ton of legends. And it was, oh man, it was awful. It was not good. It was bad. I mean, it was nice seeing all these guys in one place, but I mean, the segments just drug on and on and on, and there was just too many of them. I mean, that's the note we're ending this video on. It's the last time they were seen. Thanks for that, I guess. Ultimately, the team was definitely a valuable asset to the roster. They won the belts at appropriate times, and they took part in some of the most entertaining moments from the era. Not to mention that they put on what could only be described as in-ring assaults on multiple occasions. Overall, I'd say the APA had a near-perfect run. Just not at the end, you know, if we take away the reunions and the cameos, we just forget about those. Perfect run. They stuck around long enough to make a long-term impression, but not long enough for us to wish that they'd left earlier. And you can't properly talk about the career of either one of these men without at least making a good mention of their time together as the Acolyte Protection Agency. I'd say the APA's time together, well, it was a complete success. So with that being said, I'm the Social Injustice Warrior V Infuso, and if you like the words that came out of my mouth hole and you too want to become a VTard, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's plenty more where this video came from. Follow me on Twitter because, hell, why not? It's not considered stalking if it's on the internet, am I right? And don't forget to join the Discord. I don't have anything catchy to add to that, but just join it. Just go do it. And if you have a free moment of time and a free $1 to spare, then head over to my Patreon, where for just $1, you too could help keep this boat afloat. And if you don't have that $1, but you do have a free moment of time, then hit the share button. It will help me out tremendously.
VTards, oh.